Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Welcome back to Creations by Gwili. I am Gwili, and my Facebook Lives are every Wednesday at 11 o'clock Central Time. And I call it Whatever Wednesday because you don't ever know what you're going to get. I want to be able to show you all kinds of different crafts. We'll do some stenciling. And today I'm going to show you how I make a sunflower wreath. And I just need to tell you a few things about the materials. If you are a wreath maker, I will be happy to share with you where I purchase my supplies. If you've never made a wreath before and want to try this, I have put 3 kits up on my Etsy shop that I've done everything for you. You will get the base, you will get the zip ties, you'll get the mesh. I've already cut the mesh for you. You'll get the center, you'll get everything. I'm asking, just share this video if you would, like my page, invite your friends. Even if you're watching the replay, you can share. That helps me grow my business, but it also helps you in the fact that if you ever want to go back and look at one of the videos as to how I did something, it'll be a lot easier to find on your page than if you're looking at mine. Let's talk a little bit about the supplies you're going to need for this wreath. And I will tell you, when I first started making the flower wreaths, I watched a lot of YouTube videos and I made them on a wire frame, usually I think a 12-inch wire frame, which made lovely flowers. But when I discovered this plastic flower board, it was a game changer. I absolutely love it, and I don't make any wreaths now except with this board. That doesn't mean that there's a right or a wrong way. As a wreath maker, you know that, okay, it's trying to tell me something. I don't have a clue what he said.
Show the board.
I will when we talk about the board. He's directing. You might even see him today. Sometimes he makes a surprise appearance. But I appreciate him helping because I don't have anything here to see your comments. Supposedly, if he sees your comments, he'll tell me. I will go back after the video and look at the comments, and if you have any questions, I'll answer them. But anyway, as a wreath maker, you'll find that as you make a couple of wreaths, you have your own style. It doesn't mean that it's right or that it's wrong. It's just what you're comfortable with and what you like. For instance, if I've made a lot of flowers with a lot of different petals, but the petal I'm going to show you today is by far my favorite petal. And it's actually called a Dean Michael design petal. I'm not sure if she calls it her daisy petal or sunflower petal, but it's what I use for my sunflowers because I enjoy making it. But this is the board I was telling you about. It's a plastic, this is their small flower board. And it is from Unique in the Creek, UNIQUE in the Creek.com. They're based out of Canada, but you can order them on Amazon. You can order them from thewreathshop.com. I believe Craft Outlet carries them. I'm not sure. But if you go with Craft Outlet or the Wreath Shop or whatever, you probably can find all the supplies you need. I know they carry the poly burlap mesh. Okay, and you're going to need zip ties, anywhere from 36 to 40 of them. These are 8-inch. You want at least 6-inch, and you'll see why later. You're going to need something to hang it with, to put on, and you're going to need a center. This is the center we're going to use today. The flat centers that I have in most of my wreaths, there's a shortage of them, and you really cannot even find them. I have some that I could spray paint, but I didn't want to do that. So today is my first day using this particular center. And in the craft kits, I've already put the pipe cleaner on the back of it for you and everything. And then you're going to need poly burlap. In your kit, you will get this shade of poly burlap. It's the pretty yellow that I use. Today, the wreath I'm making, I'm going to make out of this new poly burlap, and it's a little bit thinner. I wanted to see if I needed to paint the board. So I don't know if I'm going to use 36 or 40 pieces of it. Depends on how big of a space our center takes up. But in your kit, you'll get 40 pieces. I've already cut them with a wood burning tool, and I'm going to show you how to do that if you happen to have one. They're very inexpensive. They're about $15 at Walmart, I think. Now, I want you to look at the difference in the mesh. This is your normal just mesh from like Hobby Lobby or Value Mesh from some of these other places. And you see how thin it is. Some people make flowers with this mesh. I don't. I have made it out of fabric mesh. But my favorite by far is the poly burlap, because so you can see the difference. It covers well, it's thick. And I'm gonna scoop these things out of the way. Now, if you just cut it with scissors, or even if you cut it with a rotary cutter, it is gonna fray some. My favorite thing to do is to cut it with this wood burning tool, and like I said, it's only about $15, so it's not an expensive tool, but it really makes a difference as far as your flower and a nice clean flower. So let me show you how to cut that before we get started, just in case you have the mesh. It comes in all colors. You want to cut the pieces. This is a 10-inch mesh, and you want to cut it 10 inches. So you want to make sure that you have, I have like a glass piece underneath here, because this wood burning tool is very hot and you don't want to cut your mat. So you just measure it out, and when I get through with this, I'm going to move it. Now the wood burning tool, I use the tip that's kind of like a chisel. Comes with like 4 different tips. It's very hot, be careful. So you want to go in between, I don't know if you can see these lines, but you want to go in between the lines, and I'll stand up to it because I don't want to burn myself. But you just start, and you want to go straight down that line. This is actually plastic, so you might want to wear a mask. Now the line may curve, but once you cut it, and it actually burns that. Once you cut it, you're going to have a straight line. All right, let me unplug this and move it out of the way for a second so I don't burn myself. But anyway, you're going to cut a whole roll, and that should give you 36 pieces. But as wreath makers, we never order just one roll of something. You always order 2, because this is 10 feet, which is 10 yards, which is 36 feet. You should 360. You should be able inches. You should be able to get 36 if they're cut 10 inches. There's been times there's not a full 10 foot on a roll, and I'll be a petal short. So I always buy 2 rolls of everything. Like I said, if you order the kit from the store, you're going to get 40 pieces, and that's more than enough if you decide to double up. But I've already got my mesh cut because I want my videos to kind of be short and sweet and not take up a whole lot of your time. If you have any questions, just ask, and hopefully Ed will see them, and we can answer them for you. I'll be right back. Have to put the glass away because I don't need it now. Okay, I think we covered all the materials. You can go to craftoutlet.com, trendytree.com, thewreathshop.com. They sell zip ties, they sell mesh. Make sure, if you want to do a flower, I would suggest that you order the poly burlap. It's a little more expensive than regular mesh, but it really makes a difference as far as how your wreath is going to turn out, and it's going to be not a lot of frayed edges. Now, the more you handle any mesh, the more it's going to fray. Okay, I've talked about the supplies, so let's get started with the wreath. You're going to start with your plastic flower frame. Again, they sell a large flower frame. This is the small one. They sell a cross. They sell a Christmas tree. But you want to, on the back, it actually has their name and their website. It says they're made in Canada. So if you order straight from them, it would take you a little bit longer to get it in, but you can order just one if you want to. If you order on Amazon, you order in packs of 5, which is what I do, and I get them just in a couple of days. But this is the back, so you're going to turn it over, you're going to find two little, see these 4 holes look kind of together, pretty close together. There's 16 around the outer row. But these 2 that are kind of indented, that's where you're going to put your jute, or that's where I use jute. Some people use zip ties, but you're just going to run the jute through it. And I do this first thing so that I can see those 2 holes there. And what I do is just get it about the length I want it, tie a knot in it, and then there's your hanging hole. Now you can cut this off. Sometimes I glue it down, sometimes I don't, because when you put your petal in these 2 holes right here, it's going to hold it down. So it makes a really good hanging. Okay. In the kit, I've already done that for you. You get the board like this with the tie already in it. Okay, so then you're going to take your zip ties. Now the only thing about the zip ties is you want to make sure they're 18 pound, which means the little piece on the end is fairly small, and that allows it to go back in these holes where there's nothing on the outside. I'm going to start up here. Some people load the whole board. You know, by loading it, it means putting your zip tie in. You can just load 1 row if you want to. But what you're going to do is take those 2 holes. You want your flat side towards you if you're holding it like this. Otherwise, it won't really zip. You know it's zipped when you hear the little zipping sound. Run it down 1. It's actually easier to do it the other side. And up the other. I use 8-inch zip ties. And then you're going to close it, not all the way. You're just going to close it till you hear it zip a little bit. And, you know, some people turn the board. This is why it's good when they go in. They'll turn the board over and push them in this way. Up 1, up the other. But this is just loading your zip ties to put your petals on. You just pull it till it makes a sound, and you know it's zipped. If you put the little end in backwards, it doesn't lock, and you won't hear the zipping, so you'll know that you've got it in backwards. You can sit and watch TV and do this. The most time-consuming thing in this whole project is actually cutting the mesh. 10 inches is what you want to cut. So let's just put a few in here, and then I'll show you how you make your petal. When you make your petal, what I'm going to show you today is the same petal over and over and over. So that's like 36 times a petal. I do have some on my website that I've done 1 petal on this side and a different petal in the middle. You can get on YouTube, Lori Franklin, who designed this board, and I'm telling you, once I used this board the first time, I never went back to the wireframes. But she designed this because she had problems with her hands and her back, and she wanted something that she could just sit in her recliner and work on. And, you know, it's real easy that way. But she has a lot, if you go to their website and look under tutorials, she has tutorials for every board they sell. The large flower board, this is the small one, and the cross, all of it. She shows different petals. There again, there's no right or wrong petal. It's just the one that you like to do. This is my favorite petal, and it's my go-to petal for just about everything. You can do it in 2 colors. The sunflower we're going to do in 1 color. A lot of people add leaves on the outside. I have done a few with leaves, but 90% of the time I do not add leaves to my flowers. I don't like them, you know. And like I said, in wreath making, you tend to do what you like. When I'm making a mesh wreath or a grapevine wreath, I just keep adding stuff to it till I like it. Okay, so you're going to have 16 all the way around. We will keep doing that. I'm going to show you how to do the petal. Like I said, you could do 1 or 2 at a time. You can do them all. It's up to you. All right, so you're going to take your mesh. It's been cut 10 inches. These are the cut edges. These are what I call the finished edges, okay? I like the uniformity of my finished edge all going the same way. It just looks neater. So I make sure I always fold it and hold it the same way. You're going to take it like this. I have the finished edges on my right and left. And then you're going to take it and put it in a diamond. You're going to take this corner, go to this corner. Sometimes it's not a perfect fit, triangle, and that's okay. The more you do these, you'll discover your own way. Then you're going to take it and turn it, and I pull just a little bit on this part and start squeezing in the middle. So you're just going to take it and scrunch it up. The more you do it, the faster you'll get. You're going to make almost what looks like a little goldfish. Can y'all see that it just almost looks like a little goldfish? Or a, what is the card? Spade? Isn't that what it's called? All right, and then you're just going to kind of fold it. You're going to take it and hold it. This takes a little practice. And just fold those corners under. Can you see what I did? And then you're just going to hold it. Then I'm going to take it, and I'm going to start here at the top. Put it in that space. I put it about an inch in, or about a finger, you know, past the zip tie. Then you're just going to pull that zip tie tight. Take it to where it kind of cups out a little bit. And see, I have the finished edge right here. There is one here, but then the other edge is on the top of that. But when I lay my next petal down, it's going to cover this. Now you could cut this off right now if you wanted to. I usually don't. I wait till I'm done with the whole row. There again, it's just up to you. All right, so that's one petal. Now you're going to do the exact same thing all the way around. Now, you may wonder how I got my mesh so flat. I very seldom ever cut the mesh and make the flower the same day. I use my wood burner, I cut the whole row of mesh, and then I put the glass cutting board like thing over it. Put it in a stack, put something heavy on it, leave it overnight, and that flattens them out and it just makes it easier. But if it's got a little curl to it, you want to turn it to where it's kind of curling up. But here I go, the finished edge on the sides. Take the corner, corner to corner, make a triangle. Just push it down a little bit. Some people do these up ahead of time, and once they make the petal, and then I'm just going to squeeze it. You can turn it loose up here after a few minutes to kind of hold this. And you just scrunch it together. If it frays a little bit on the edges, don't worry about it, just tuck it under. Some people make the petals ahead of time. Lori does. That's how she can sit in her recliner. And then she just takes either a zip tie and zip ties this petal closed, or a rubber band. I just make the petals as I make the flower. So then you're going to go to this side of this petal, same thing. Put it in there, about a finger's width, hold it, zip tie it closed. See how it kind of lays over that petal, and your finished edges are all going to be the same. All right, let's do one more. Turn it diamond. Are there any questions? And can you see comments on your laptop? All right, I will go back in and read the comments and answer any questions you have after the video's over. So scrunch it up to where it kind of looks like the little fish, and then turn your corners under, push it together, put it in the zip tie. The reason you want to kind of have them the same is because you want your flowers to be even all the way around. Okay. See, this one didn't come quite exactly, but it's still okay. When you use the wood burner on the edges, it cuts down the fraying a lot. Okay, so what you're going to do is go all the way around. Now, to save time, let me hand this to Ed. I've already gone all the way around. Look how big. This is just the outer row. This flower without any leaves on it. Now, if you were doing the leaves in green, you would probably cut them 11 inches where they would stick out a little bit more. And you would just on this outer row, you would just double use. Maybe in between these two with another zip tie and just put a few leaves on it. This makes about a 20-inch flower without adding leaves, which is why I don't add the leaves. Now you can see I've left all my zip ties on here, but this is what it's going to look like when you go all the way around. I'm going to probably have to stand up. I use a zip tie gun. It just helps my hand. It tightens it and cuts it at the same time, except when it sticks. You can use wire cutters, and you're just going to tighten them all and cut them. But that's your first row. There'll be 16 of them. Now, at this point, if you want to use a different color, your next row has 8. You could use a different color. If you want to make it fuller, put more petals on it, you would go in between, or you could drill holes in between the two, but there's only 8 sets of holes. You could run your zip tie, but it would need to be a long zip tie from this hole to this hole and put another petal there. But you really don't need to. Sometimes I have to do that in the center right here if my center is pretty small. Sometimes I don't hold the gun just exactly right. That's just another one of my husband's tools that I stole out of his shed. You know, I happen to say, you don't have a zip tie gun, do you? He's like, yeah, somewhere. I'm like, I could use it. But it's a lot easier than using it. But I mean, all you need are the wire cutters. You can use those too. Okay, that's row 1. Look at the back, how clean. You can see that's just zip ties, nothing to scratch the door. That's what I love about it. Okay, so you're gonna do the same thing. You've got 8. This is row 1, this is row 2. So we're gonna do the exact same thing. Kind of gets, okay. And I know it might be boring here just to sit and watch me do this petal over and over and over, but you may have to practice on it a couple of times. But once you get, you know, the hang of it, it goes really fast because it doesn't matter where you start. And I'm going to go around my left because I want the ends same place. Now you can see this is that new poly burlap. I've never used it before, but it is going to cover the board nice and make a pretty sunflower. So, okay, to keep you from getting so bored, I told you I was going to, Facebook does not like you to say the word share. If you're running a contest and you're trying to get people to share the page and win something. I haven't been doing that, so it's okay for me to ask you to share, even if you're watching the replay right now. And if you don't know if you're watching the replay or not, if you see a little red button at the top that says live, then you're watching me live. Otherwise, if that red live is not there, you're watching a replay. But you can go ahead and comment, you can go ahead and share. All right, I think I probably used 6-inch zip ties on this one because they're a little tighter. Or I zipped them a little tighter. And I'm just going to kind of make sure it covers those petals to the sides. The more you handle the mesh, the more it might start fraying. And of course, if you get a fray, just take and cut it off. It's no big deal, really. My biggest thing is I don't think my workspace is wide enough, so I end up touching all this stuff. Okay, anyway, back to the prizes. I decided what I was going to do is, if you didn't watch my introduction video, you probably don't know much about me. Most people don't know how to pronounce my name. Again, it's Chili. It's really not hard to remember and say if you don't see it spelled out. Once you see it spelled out, your mind goes in a totally different direction. But I've been sharing little tidbits here and there about myself that I didn't share on the introduction page. So, and then I will send out some happy mail. So the first week I talked about, I've been married 50 years this last December, we took a trip to celebrate 50 years. No one guessed where we went. So I might do two this week. If you know, first one that we see the comment, and you know, you may not be seeing the same thing we see, but you may think you commented with the right answer before the other person did, but it's just, we have to go with what we see first. So if you know where we went to celebrate our anniversary, let me know, and I'll send you some happy mail. There again, whatever. You don't know what it might be. Okay, the second thing, my little tidbit for last week, I told you I had 10 grandchildren. Okay, the question is, and I told you last week, how many boys? How many grandsons do I have? First one to comment and get it correct will also get happy mail. And I think my daughter is watching, and Pam, you don't count. Sorry. You get happy mail every time you come over. So, my tidbit today, let's see. I had an in-home daycare for 33 years. I retired from having an in-home daycare. It was not what I went to school for. It was not planned. It just happened. God just intended that that's what He wanted me to do. I did it for 33 years. I feel like I've raised so many kids here in town. Okay, if you want to practice this, just take you a piece of a napkin, cut it 10 inches by 10 inches, or a piece of paper, and just, because I mean, once you put these together and then you try to take it apart, it could fray. So don't waste your mesh. Practice on something else. But it is the exact same petal over and over and over. If you're later hopping on, I do have 3 kits. I put them on the website this morning, and I only did 3 because if you know me, you know everything on my Etsy store is in stock, ready to ship to you tomorrow. So I only ordered the supplies for 3 sunflowers because I just didn't want to invest a whole lot of money in them and then nobody be interested. But you can do this flower any color. And last year there was a shortage on poly burlap, and I stocked up, and I stocked up again this year. I think I probably have 6 tubs of different color of this poly burlap. So I'll be doing some fall. This is the same material that I use for my poinsettias at Christmas time. We may do a kit with that too. But if you want to try one of these, I think I put $47 or $48 on it and about $10 to have it shipped to you. And like I said, I've even cut the mesh for you with a wood burner. Okay, we're about half done with this row. You can see this video today will be a little bit longer than my others probably, because I just didn't think we could skip all of this. But same petal, over and over and over. All right, Ed, can you see any comments on anything?
Nothing except Pam gave us a crying face when you told her she was.
She didn't count. Pam, you got your happy mail the other day. I'm playing with a lot of different things, and I actually made her a welcome to my porch sign the other day. First one I'd ever made. Gonna be working on one for my sister. Was gonna be a surprise, but I guess if she gets on here, it won't be a surprise anymore, but hers is gonna have a horse on it. Okay. We have just one more on this row. Okay, I don't have anybody to talk to. Sorry, y'all. If you're watching the replay, you can just fast forward to the end because we're not doing anything different. This particular row, you needed 8 petals. And what I'm doing is I'm kind of spreading it out a little bit at the bottom. Just be
Barbara
careful.
Deshawn said you went to Israel.
Who?
Barbara Deshawn.
Yeah. Yeah, Barbara. You get some happy mail. We did. We went to Israel to celebrate our 50th. Hopefully, Barbara, I'll be able to see you in church before too long, but if not, I'll ship it to you. Okay, so that was 8. You can see your sunflower taking shape. This is just easier to stand up and do it. You have to be careful that your petals don't grab a bunch of stuff. If these 3 kits sell pretty fast, and if you maybe are interested in one, but you want a different color, I have a lot of different colors out there in those 6 bins. I probably could put a different color together for you. Okay, so we're gonna go to row, that was 1, 2, 3, row 3. So we've got 8 again. And you see how the holes are already in these boards, and it's putting a petal between the petals to cover up. Some people like to spray paint their board if you can see through it, but I don't think this one's gonna need it at all, so I didn't do it. Okay, same thing. Edges, turn it, make a diamond, turn it to make a triangle. And just push it down a little bit. Start in the middle and scrunch. Barbara, you probably know how many grandsons I have too. Okay. But yeah, going to Israel has been on Ed's bucket list for years, and our church went in October of last year. So we just celebrated our 50th a little early. And pretty much have been sick since we got back with one thing or another. And I'm glad we did it last year. I mean, all the trips this year probably are being canceled. Okay, so you're gonna have 8 in this one. I don't know for sure when we get to this middle one, whether I'll just do the 4, depending on, I think the center, like I said, this is the first time I've used this particular center. I believe the center is plenty big enough that I'll just need 4. But if you have a smaller center, I can show you what you do. You just want to make sure the center is big enough. Oops, lost that one. It's big enough to cover your zip ties. I don't need to go this way. That petal, it's not great looking. You see how it's trying to fray a little bit there? It was because when I was doing it, I messed it up a little bit. So what I'm gonna do is just cut that little bit of fraying off so it doesn't keep doing it. And just keep going. Put it over that one. You just form them a little bit the way you want them to go. Corner to corner. How many of you think now you could sit down and make this petal? It's actually called the Dean Michael petal. And if you search on YouTube, you would just search Dean Michael Design. She has quite a few. Like I said, Lori Franklin from Unique in the Creek has got tons of free tutorials on different petals. This is just my favorite. It's the one I always go to. But I may show you others on another Wednesday or something. Okay. Are you liking this flower? Give me a thumbs up if you like sunflowers. And a heart if you'd like to see it done in maybe fall colors. Orange and brown, tan would be pretty. I think I have a plaid 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more. Doesn't have to be perfect. You're squishing it up to make a little fish. And folding the edges to make it more like a spade.
You're getting a bunch of thumbs up, but they're so small I can't tell who's putting them on.
That's okay, it pops up their name. So see it's getting very full and pretty. I like this mesh. It's got more white in it than the regular yellow that I use a lot. But I only ordered 2 rows of it, so I couldn't make the kits. Because I didn't know, when you get a new mesh, you never know for sure how well it's going to cut. And I know this is probably boring, just watching the same petal over and over and over. But I just didn't feel like I needed to fast track through all of it. Ed said I should have had like 3 rows made up. But, you learn by seeing it over and over and over. And you need to see how it fills up. If you tried to use the really thin mesh, it wouldn't cover the board. And it wouldn't take a shape like this does. This is just by far my favorite. You pay several dollars or more a row. I think most of the poly burlap is anywhere from $8 a row to I've seen it as much as $11.50. That is some of your other suppliers sometimes, not your larger ones, but and then it's usually a check, a 2-color burlap. I have some of it too.
Kathleen Smith said, "Good morning, Julie."
Good morning, Kat. Kat is, I'm part of her group. Kat shows us all kinds of things. Kat, feel free to put your link in there. It's a great group of ladies. Kat goes live a lot. She basically taught me how to do my Etsy shop, and she's helped me a lot with the business part of my shop. And she's real good about finding different crafts for us to do. I don't think she particularly likes doing these flowers. There again, it's a preference. It's one of my favorite wreaths to make, actually. But like I said, I usually cut the mesh one day, leave it stacked so it'll go flat, and then make the flower the next day, so I'm not so give out. When you get my age, you kind of learn that you got to slow down a little bit and do what you can do and not worry about it. And that's hard for me because when I start a project, I like to finish it. But sometimes I'll work on a flower. And that's what's so great about these. You get your mesh cut, you can start working and just do a row at a time. Do a row and go sit down and do something else and come back and do another row. You just don't want to touch it a whole lot. Once you have it shaped, you can see how it's filling up nicely. We only have this center. Once I get through with this row. This is the last one. But yeah, Kat, put your links in there to how they can join your group or just watch you. She goes live in her public group, I believe every Friday. But she has a paid group that I have learned so much from her. And everybody in that group is very supportive. We have a lady in our group, I don't know how many of you have even seen my fingernails, I'll show them to you. We have a lady in our group that is selling Color Street nails. I haven't been to the nail salon since probably last November and had just quit doing anything. And she started selling these Color Street nails. It's basically a press-on nail polish that goes on your nails. And you can see, boy, I went with shiny this time, but I put these on about 2 weeks ago. And they're super easy to apply. So I'm probably going to be ordering some more from her. That's not quite so shiny. I like the mauve looking colors, but she has got some really neat ones. So I think most of our ladies in our group do more than just make wreaths. And of course, shipping has gotten so crazy. I felt like that's why I started selling magnolia designs and doing stenciling and doing a lot of my own signs and putting shelf sitters in my shop, because I just felt like I needed a variety of things in there. And that's one reason I don't add leaves to my flowers. It makes the flower bigger. And I've discovered that I don't want to charge somebody $50 for shipping. You know, I want to be able to keep it affordable. Okay, this new center, you might not would even have to put, you actually would not have to if you didn't want to. I see a little bit of board here, but this is a little larger. But it just makes it fuller. So I'm going to go ahead and use the 4 pieces, but I will not need 8. Like I said, this is the first time I've used this mesh and this center. My husband says he prefers the flat center, but they're just almost impossible to find anywhere now. There again, I have a tote full of them. Some of them are large, some of them are pink, and I would need to spray paint them. You can see as you go in there, the center is going to get pretty tight. That's what allows you, though, just to use a little bitty center for your flower. You just want to make sure it covers everything. Got a little fray. Okay, I don't think I got that one close. If I feel something sharp. Now you can spray your flower. I spray everything I sell, but I use a Rust-Oleum spray that's clear, but you want to use for deco mesh and poly burlap especially. You want to use the clear spray, not the matte finish. You want a semi-gloss or gloss. And make sure it says non-yellowing. I just put it outside, give it a light coat. I think it probably just helps with the fraying a little bit. And it also helps it keep its color longer. But you don't have to, especially if you're making it for yourself. Okay, 2 more. And I'm going to show you how to put the center on. Triangle. Pull it just a little bit and start in the center. And then just squeeze. Make your little fish. I'm not sure if Dee Michaels calls this her daisy petal or her sunflower petal, but that's where I learned it. And her tutorials are free on YouTube. I've actually been trying to upload my tutorials on YouTube. I'm trying to learn a few new things. Okay, 1 more and we're done. So actually it took 36. In your kit, if you decide to order a kit from me, you're going to get 40 pieces. Already with the wood burner, already cut. You're going to get 40 zip ties and 40 pieces. If you decided you wanted to double up right here, I'll show you what you could do. There's really no need to, but you got the pieces. If you wanted to, you could. So I'm just going to put 4 pieces right here in the center. It gets a little harder to work with them when they get so tight in there. And then I'm going to show you the back in a minute too. Okay. Your zip gun just tightens it to make sure it's really tight and cuts it for you. Okay. Let me show you the back. I'm a hanger. Okay, look at the back. See how clean that is? It's not gonna scratch anybody's door. I just absolutely love. And I really, I don't make any larger than the small flower board. If you wanted to put your other 4 petals, you would do shared holes. Like you would see how these are from the small hole to the small hole. You'd put a zip tie from this hole to this one, from this one to this one, this one to this one, this one. So you would have 8 petals in the very center. It would really get tight when you go to put on your center, but you can see how tight this is with just 4. So you actually would have another petal here, another petal here, here, and here, okay? All right, to put center on, I just yesterday prepared this one and wrapped my pipe cleaner or underneath this little thing that they have on it, stuck some pins in it, hot glued it. If you order the kit, I've already done that for you. So let me get my glue gun. I'll have it here so that make sure it's hot. And what I'm going to do is take my pipe cleaners and just find 2 holes. That one looks like it's pretty easy to see. And then I'm going to go across and put this other one. That's okay, I'll get them later. I'm going to go across and put this other one in here, but I'm not going to do that until I put glue. I don't know if you can see, but I'm going to put glue on these petals down here where this is going to sit. The pipe cleaner will secure it. This is just a little extra. You could turn it over and put it straight on the styrofoam if you wanted. All right, then I'm going to run this one through the hole across from it. I hope it's right across from it. And pull it tight. Make sure it's kind of in the center and just hold it for a minute. I think these centers are okay. I don't know. I still like the flat ones, but I've learned you've got to do a variety. Different people like different things. Again, let me remind you, I have 4 kits in my Etsy shop now that you get everything already done for you to make your own flower. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is turn it over, take these pipe cleaners and just give it a twist a time or 2, and then I'm going to take them and cut them off and just stick them back through the hole. And this is usually where I glue my business card on. But see, you have it secure, but there's still nothing. See, straight across would have been this one, but it doesn't matter which one you use. I would put a business card right there. But there you go. It's finished. What do y'all think? Do you like the yellow color? The yellow and white? This feels a little different than the regular. In your kit, this is what you're getting. Not with the thing through it. That's what gets frustrating sometimes. I had one whole row of this that some of it was so bad I couldn't use it at all. And it's like where it's pulled loose. But anyway, it's the bright yellow. It's not the yellow and white, but in the kit is this yellow. This is a new mesh. It's still, I think, called poly burlap, but I just want to try it. And it feels, I actually made a flower. If you look on my Etsy store, you can come back up now if you want to. If you look on my Etsy store, you'll see I've got flowers made out of fabric mesh. They're pretty flowers, but my favorite by far is the poly burlap. But you could do this row one color, this row a different color, and then every other one, those colors. You can mix it up any way you want to. I just wanted to see how this burlap would do and share this with you. I think all of you probably, it's a very simple petal. If you'll share this video to your page, you'll be able to go back and start and stop and see what I did and redo it. But like I said, once you learn the petal, it's the same thing over and over and over. There are several other petals I will teach you, but I wanted to give you my favorite first. And this wreath measures a good, actually it's about 24 inches, this particular one. So ships well in a box and super easy. So even if you're watching this replay, like my page, follow me and share. Unless the Lord changes my mind, you know, I told you we're going to do all kinds of different crafts and things. So next week I plan to teach you a little secret about decoupage. Have you ever tried to decoupage a napkin? I made the little wood sign over here out of a napkin. But next week I want to show you how you can make these little gifts. This is just a piece of canvas. Can you see it? It looks like it's been painted on, but that's a napkin. But these would make adorable little gifts. You just put a magnet on the back of it, and you've got magnets. You'd never know that was a napkin. I have napkins that have roosters. I have some beach napkins. But next week I'm going to teach you how to do that. And we'll also do some decoupage with scrapbook paper. So, unless the Lord changes my mind, that's the plan. So, again, please like and follow and share my page. And I just really, today was a little bit longer than normally, but I knew it would take a little bit longer to do a flower. So, let me check and make sure I've told you everything I wanted to tell you. I think I have, pretty much. If you have any questions, just put them on and I'll go back on after the video and look at the comments and the questions. And I just appreciate y'all spending a little bit of time with me on this Wednesday. And so I'll see you next week. Y'all have a blessed week. Bye.